Are you in your midlife years and you feel like you're just stuck? Well, today I want to share how you can avoid 7 pitfalls that many of us encounter later in life that can keep us from making real progress. Now, these are the exact strategies that have allowed me to make some major headway in my life in my 50s and 60s, including making 2 major career changes, earning a diploma in counseling, and a degree. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the exact things I did to avoid these pitfalls, so you're going to basically be getting a roadmap for getting and staying unstuck. Let's get started. First, let's dive into something we all face, and that's negative self-talk. It's that little voice in your head that just criticizes your every move, telling you things like, I'm not good enough, or you can't do anything right, or you don't deserve to have anything any better. Now, I was reading one of the studies in psychology and aging the other day, and it shows that your self-esteem can really take a hit during your midlife, and that can fuel a whole cycle of self-doubt. And if you're under a lot of stress, well, it's only going to make things worse. So all that makes it really tough to appreciate your own achievements and strengths. Now, I used to be my own worst critic, and one day I decided to start paying attention to the things that triggered that negative self-talk. I began asking myself, what story am I believing about myself that just isn't true? Well, this helped me to identify those false beliefs and change them and start moving forward with my life. So what stories are you believing about yourself that aren't true? Now, the best way to combat that is to question where those beliefs are coming from and then challenge their validity. Now, of course, if you need additional support, don't hesitate to seek out a mental health professional who can help you work through all that. But the real key here is to be proactive about addressing your negative self-talk so you can start to move forward with more confidence. All right, let's dive into something we've all probably dealt with, and that's the comparison trap. You know, that habit of measuring ourselves against others. It's something that can really sneak up on us, especially as we get a little bit older. I read in the Gerontologist Journal that these social comparisons become even more frequent as we get older, especially in midlife, and it can leave us feeling like we're just not measuring up. But here's the thing. While it's really easy to start looking at others to get inspiration, the most meaningful comparison that you can make is really between who you are today and who you were in the past. So instead of comparing apples and oranges, it's more like comparing apples with apples. So it's a better way to measure your growth. I found that focusing on my own journey, how far I've come, works a whole lot better for me. Now, for me, I started setting personal goals that were all about improving myself. I wasn't worried about what anyone else was up to or what they thought about it. So I decided to go back to school in my 50s and earn a diploma in counseling, along with several certificates, and then I enrolled in a university at 58 and went on to earn a degree. And I try to keep up with the latest technology and all that sort of thing. So that gave me tangible proof of my own progress. So you might want to try shifting your focus from how you're measuring up to others and start doing things that really help you celebrate the progress that you've made. And I think you're going to find that your confidence is really going to grow so you can take on even bigger challenges. All right, let's talk about toxic relationships. Now, whether it's a friend, a family member, a coworker, whoever, being around negative people can really drain your energy and make you cynical and just plain miserable. I read in the Journal of Marriage and Family an article that really pointed out the fact that midlife is a time when we start to reevaluate our relationships. A lot of folks in their 50s and 60s found that cutting out those toxic people and those influences did wonders for their attitude and their mental health. For me, I had to distance myself from certain people. Now, that doesn't mean I don't care about them or think that they're just bad people. It means that they weren't good for me. I'm sure you've been there. Everything is just going fine, and then all it takes is one conversation at work or one phone call or one visit from that person, you know who I'm talking about, and you feel like a tornado just blew through. And it can take you hours and sometimes even days to shake it off. So I had to set some really firm boundaries and stick to them. Now, it was tough. Some people I just had to cut out of my life completely, and once I did, my life got simpler, more peaceful, less stressful, and I could really focus on my own personal goals. So you've got to be proactive, set boundaries, and like I said, enforce them. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, encourage you, support you. Your well-being should always come first. Oh yeah, procrastination. We've all been there, haven't we? The Journal of Adult Development says that procrastination can be especially tricky at midlife and beyond because of all the added responsibilities and stress that we face. There are plenty of reasons why people procrastinate. They might just be exhausted, or it might be fear or worried about not meeting up to someone else's expectations, or just plain boredom. Now, believe me, years ago, I could put the pro in procrastination. But here's how I managed to overcome that while working a full-time job, 50 to 60 hours a week, holding a part-time position for 2 years on weekends on the side, all while earning a diploma and then a degree, and still have time for my family. I began identifying my biggest task or challenge, and then to build momentum, I created a morning routine where I finished super simple, easy tasks that only took me a couple of minutes very early in the morning. That gave me the momentum and the motivation to go on to tackle the bigger task. Now, if you struggle with procrastination, you might first want to ask yourself why. What's the underlying fear or motivation behind that procrastination? Once you do, find a system that works for you. Try breaking tasks down to smaller, more manageable steps, or use a time management technique that works for you. All right, this one's a bit of a biggie, the habit of saying yes to everything. It's a fast track to burnout. A study found in occupational health psychology pointed out that overcommitment is a huge issue for people in their 50s and 60s and really in midlife in general. It really can lead to constant stress. It's going to hurt your productivity, and the quality of your work is going to suffer. Not to mention, you're neglecting your own needs. Now, I had to learn how to prioritize my commitments to keep from burning out. Now, this freed up time and energy for the things in my life that really mattered the most to me. So, as it said, duties never conflict. So that meant I said yes only when it did not create a conflict with the time that I needed for family and other obligations. Now, of course, to do this, you'll need to prioritize your commitments, and if you're prone to overcommitting, learn to get comfortable saying no to tasks or obligations that don't support your goals or your well-being. It's one of the best ways that you can avoid burnout and keep a healthy work-life balance. Change can be intimidating, there's no doubt about it, but resisting change can really stifle your growth. Now, learning to embrace change is crucial if you really want to discover new passions, experiences, and even opportunities that might just surprise you. Now, everyone's different, but of course, for me, change has been a way of life. In a lot of ways, change is my comfort zone. Now, when I was very young, my dad was in the military, and then after he left the service, he started working for a major airline. Now, this meant that we moved a lot. So my formative years and well into my teens were filled with constant change, new places, new faces, new schools, and just about everything else that you can imagine. So I learned from a very early age to approach each new place, each new situation with a sense of curiosity. So when change comes knocking, try to approach it with an open and curious mindset. Try to embrace those new experiences and opportunities too, because they're often the very things that are going to lead to some of the most important links to your personal growth and your fulfillment. And instead of fearing what's different, look at it as a chance to learn something new, meet new people, and grow in ways that you never expected. Last, let's tackle dwelling on regrets. It's easy to get caught up in the what-ifs and the if-onlys, especially in midlife. Research shows that it's pretty common to focus on past regrets during this stage, but shifting your attention to the present is really the key to moving forward. Now, I used to spend a lot of time replaying past mistakes in my head, thinking about what I could have done or should have done. But I eventually realized that the past is behind me and that there's no back there to go back to. And the only thing I have control over is the present, right now. Once I started shifting my focus to the here and now, my life opened up in ways I hadn't expected. I found myself embracing new experiences, meeting new people, and feeling more fulfilled than I had ever done in the past. So while it's important to acknowledge your past regrets, don't let them hold you back. Instead, try reframing them as valuable learning experiences, and then shift your focus to the present, where you have the power to create new, meaningful experiences that can really enrich your life and help you move forward. Now, I hope that you found this helpful, and if you have, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And while you're here, check out this video, and I'll see you in the next one.